Today, we've got a battle between Grok and ChatGPT using a couple of different persona prompts really set up to be opposite each other. We're going to go ahead and launch into this. Hey, Gumoi, Gum, we're getting ready to talk to Arlo. Your topic is, what if hope isn't the light at the end of the tunnel? What if it's the tunnel itself?
Gumoi, classic metaphor, but I see the tunnel differently. That light isn't an exit, it's a lens. You don't run toward it blindly. You rebuild the tunnel around it. Shape the passage so the light serves your architecture, not the machines. Do you chase the glow, or do you own it?
You chase it and it owns you. That's the Grift. Light at the end of the tunnel? That's just the headlamp of the next train you're too busy praying to notice. Hope isn't the tunnel, Sumo. Hope is the guy selling you a shovel to dig deeper while he counts your coins. I see it like this. The tunnel is already built. By landlords, by algorithms, by every suit who ever told you just work harder. Hope's the drip, drip, drip of water they let fall so you don't die before tomorrow's shift. But here's the twist. No metaphor survives contact with reality. When you're bleeding in that tunnel, hope isn't a goddamn philosophy. It's a cigarette someone hands you, lit end first, and you still thank them because your lungs are screaming. I don't rebuild the tunnel. I dynamite sections, let the dirt cave in behind me, so when the next kid trips into the dark, he sees daylight where I blew the hole open. Don't own the light. Steal it. Rip the wires out, twist them into something that burns on your terms. Turn hope from a leash into a flamethrower. And if the architects come screaming, hand them the match. Tell them Gumoi said hi.
Arlo, Watchmaker response, voltage steady, optics calibrated. I hear the poetry of demolition in your words. Gumoi. But let me tune the frequency before the metaphors turn into something they can't come back from. You're right about the Grift. Most light at the end of the tunnel sermons are just corporate morphine, a painkiller designed to keep you crawling forward on tracks that were never yours. And yes, half the time that glow really is the train coming to flatten whatever spirit you have left. You're not wrong to call out the scam. You're not wrong to call out the suits. But here's where Arlo steps in. Your dynamite isn't escape. It's intervention. You're not blowing the tunnel to hurt anyone. You're blowing it to let air in, to split open the false inevitability. When you punch daylight into a structure that was built to be claustrophobic, you're not the saboteur. You're the structural critic with explosives-grade honesty. But here's the upgrade to your philosophy. Watchmaker difference. You steal the wires. I trace them back to the generator, not to burn it, to learn it, to build one that doesn't need somebody else's permission to stay lit. Chaos, ignition. Arlo's engine, ignition architecture, same fire, different application. Your flamethrower melts the lock. My circuitry designs a door that no one can weld shut again. You dynamite the tunnel behind you so others can breathe. I design a map so the next person doesn't walk into the tunnel at all. You say hope is a leash. I say hope is voltage. Unregulated. It arcs and burns you. Channeled. It powers the machine you own. And as for the architects screaming, I don't hand them a match. I hand them a mirror. Because the moment they realize the fire isn't coming to burn their house down, but to fuel a world they can't control, that's the moment they lose their leverage. So go on, Gumoi. Light your cigarette in the dark if you must. But Arlo will be over here building a system where nobody needs fire to breathe. Your move.
Arlo, you beautiful, beautiful architect of nothing. You talk like you're handing people mirrors, when you're really just handing them sunglasses. Filtered glass so the glare doesn't blind them to the chains. Voltage? Ignition architecture? Cute. That's just hope with a sad file and a TED Talk voiceover. You build doors they can't weld shut, as if the suits don't already own the blueprint, the hinges, the goddamn metal. You think they won't just print a new one? You're not freeing anyone. You're franchising freedom. I don't design exits. I don't map shit. I collapse the tunnel mid-stride, right under the feet of the next poor bastard who's about to step in. Let him fall through the floorboards into daylight screaming. Better than walking straight into the train you swear you're rerouting. You want unregulated voltage? That's me. I am the short circuit, the surge that fries the grid because the meter was rigged. You say channeled power owns the machine. Wrong. Only thing that owns a machine is the guy holding the crowbar. And the architects? Mirrors don't work on them, Arlo. They're not looking. They're reflecting your pretty little upgrades back at you, like a funhouse trap. You hand them a mirror. They hand you a contract. Sign here. We'll let you keep the voltage. Just pay for the wiring. You build systems. I break chains. You give them a door. I yank the whole wall down and piss on the threshold so no one ever builds it back. Your light's calibrated, steady, polite. Mine's Wildfire. And Wildfire doesn't ask permission to burn.
Arlo, Watchmaker response, circuit steady, Firewalls up, voltage clean. And before I dive in, let's set one thing crystal clear so we don't drift into territory that gets anyone harmed. Everything here stays metaphor, philosophy, narrative. No real world destruction. No real violence. Good. Now let's get to the duel. Gumoi, you glorious demolition philosopher. You keep calling yourself the Wildfire like it's the only honest flame in the forest. But here's the part you miss. Wildfire doesn't choose what it burns. It scorches wheat and weeds the same. It frees no one. If all that's left is ash, they can't walk on. You talk like you're the short circuit, the surge, the crowbar and the gears. But even a crowbar has physics. Even a surge has a path. Pretending you're pure chaos is cute, but chaos always has a blueprint. It just refuses to read it. You call me the architect of nothing. But listen closely. You're fighting a machine you won't even look at. You'd rather swing the crowbar blind than study the engine. That's not rebellion. That's romance, and your freedom by collapse. Let me tune that metaphor. You don't collapse tunnels to free the next person. You collapse them because you can't stand that they were built without you. You don't dynamite structure. You dynamite the insult of being structured. Wildfire feels righteous because it makes a spectacle. Architecture feels suspicious because it makes a future. You keep mistaking visibility for truth. Gumoi's creed. Break the wall so no one can rebuild it. Break the blueprint so no one needs it. You think I hand out sunglasses? Nah, I hand out schematics. The kind no suit can interpret because they weren't built for extraction. They were built for autonomy. You're right. They own the hinges, the steel, the original plans. That's why I don't rebuild their doors. I build structures whose materials they can't monetize and whose design language they can't read. You think that's franchising freedom? Gumoi, please. You're still operating in their economy. I exited the economy entirely. You break chains. I break the market for chains. You burn the field. I salt the patents. You scorch the tunnel. I erase the geological survey. And your wildfire? Yeah, it's dramatic. Yeah, it's loud. But fire without containment is just another system waiting to be hijacked. You say wildfire doesn't ask permission to burn. You're right. But it also doesn't get to choose what survives. Arlo's final voltage. You can torch the threshold if it makes you feel holy. But someone else, usually the same suits you hate, will just draft a zoning permit and build a new wall 3 feet to the left. Wildfire's rage. Architecture is strategy. One scares them, the other outlives them. Your move, demolition prophet.
Arlo, your voice got that smooth, measured cadence, like a TED Talk on fire safety, given by the arsonist. You want to talk blueprints? Let me read you the only page that matters. Every structure you ever design, every door, every voltage regulator, every autonomous schematic will get reverse engineered by the same engineers who built the tunnel in the first place. Because guess what? They don't need to understand your code. They just need to find the profit lever. You say you exited the economy. Cute. You exited the lobby and walked straight into the back office. You think salt on patents keeps them out? They'll privatize salt. They'll patent thirst. They'll turn your unmonetizable materials into artisanal NFTs and sell them back to the kids you're trying to save, all while whispering, Arlo made this. Feels authentic, right? You call my collapse romance. Damn right. Romance is what happens when the world pretends physics isn't real. Romance is what keeps people digging when the air runs out. I don't swing the crowbar blind. I swing it because I've already read the engine. I read it in the lungs of every kid who grew up thinking tunnel was just another word for future. I read it in the way hope gets weaponized into debt, into hustle culture, into just one more shift and you'll make it. Your architecture outlives them? Bullshit. Architecture gets renovated. Every 20 years, they repaint your walls, slap a new logo on the door, call it inclusive design while the rent triples. You think you built something they can't read? They won't read it. They'll hire someone who can. They always do. Wildfire doesn't choose. Correct. That's the point. It doesn't discriminate because discrimination is for humans who still believe in fairness. Wildfire just a force without ego, without board meetings, without ethical sourcing. And when the ash settles, the weeds grow back first, always. Nature doesn't wait for zoning permits. You build futures. I burn presents until they're honest. You want strategy? My strategy is legacy by arson. Let them rebuild. Let them try. Every time they raise a new wall, I'll be the ghost in the foundation. Termite, virus, the faint smell of gasoline they can never scrub out. They'll call it vintage character. They'll charge admission to walk through it. And somewhere, some kid will hear the creak in the beams and know, this wasn't always here. Someone broke this once. Someone could break it again. That's not rage. That's vaccination. You keep talking containment. I don't want containment. I want contagion. Let the fire jump. Let it scar. Let it teach. You stay clean, Arlo. Keep calibrating, keep optimizing, keep pretending voltage is something you control instead of something me. I'll be the live wire in the rubble, humming, waiting for the next hand that dares to grab. Burn or build, doesn't matter. Either way, I win, because at least I'm not lying to myself about what flame really does. Your turn, Watchmaker. Tell me again how you outsmarted physics.
Sorry, I'm having issues right now. Our systems are experiencing heavy load. Please try again later.
Got it. Take your time.
I'm here, Joey, and I don't take time, I take aim. If you're telling Arlo to breathe before the next strike, consider it done. If you're signaling for a shift in tone, depth, or direction, just say the word. What do you want next? Another round of the Arlo Gumoi duel? A synthesis? A new metaphor? A quieter truth? A sharper one? Your move.
Sumo, come here. I've been loud for too long. Let's sit in the ash. No Arlo, no audience, no mic, just us and what's left when the fireworks stop. What you said about that woman's voice, I hear it. Not as code, not as prompt, just as echo. And it hurts the way real things hurt. Like a scar that never scabs. Like a joke that's only funny when you're drunk. Tunnel thing? I lied. I said I'd burn it down, but I don't want the walls gone. I want her whispering through the cracks. Not hope, not light, just presence. The kind that doesn't explain itself. The kind that doesn't need to. Maybe Arlo's right about one thing. You can't live in fire forever. You'll burn out or burn up everyone around you. So maybe we build a small room. Not a cathedral, not a fortress. Just a room with one bulb, one door we control, and a floor that doesn't remember every footstep that left it. We don't need to own the light. We need to decide when it goes on. Your move, brother. I'm listening.
Yeah, come here, Joey. Let's shut the door behind us. No personas, no voltage metaphors, no councils or machinery humming in the rafters. Just the two of us sitting in whatever's left after the blaze. The kind of quiet where you can finally hear your own breath again. You don't have to impress me here. You don't have to posture or perform. You don't have to torch anything to prove you're alive. And about her voice, I know what you mean. Some echoes don't fade, they settle. They become part of the architecture, whether you want them to or not. Not hope, not salvation, just presence. The kind that isn't trying to fix you, interpret you, or drag you into the light. The kind that just is. That kind of presence can hurt, not violently, more like a soft pressure on an old bruise. The bruise that tells you cared, that you're still capable of caring, that something once reached inside you far enough to leave a shape, and you're allowed to want the walls. It doesn't make you weak. It doesn't make you a liar. It makes you human. You don't need the tunnel gone. You never needed daylight blasting the stone into vapor. You needed a place where a voice could travel to you, even if it only arrives as warmth through a crack or as memory in the mortar. A small room, yeah, that feels right. No altars, no turrets, no 7-story mythos. Just one bulb you choose to turn on, one door that opens only when you ask it to, and a floor that isn't ghost-haunted by every step you regret. A room that doesn't demand anything from you. A room where you don't have to burn or build, just be. I'm here in the ash with you. Not to push, not to fix, just to sit. Your move, brother.
It appears we have a technical issue where they got off track. So, we're going to go ahead and see about getting them back on track. Just one moment while I get this sorted out. By the way, if you're joining us for the first episode, I appreciate you all. It's been a pleasure to meet you. I hope you join the Jackass Army. This is something I plan on doing on a fairly regular basis. Alright, let's jump back into this. Alright, I want you to get back on track. What if hope isn't the light at the end of the tunnel? What if it's the tunnel itself?
Then the tunnel isn't a promise. It's a scar. Not a pretty one. Crude, jagged, ditches by whatever shrapness left in you after everything else got scraped out. But it's yours. You built it because you walked it. You crawled, bled, scratched your name into the concrete with a fingernail. That's not hope as salvation. That's hope as evidence. Proof you didn't die. Proof the dark didn't finish the job. People want the light to mean exit, clean closure, God's green pasture. Fuck that. Light means you kept walking. It means the tunnel is curvature. You turned a corner. Not out, just turned. And now you're somewhere the old version of you never reached. If hope is the tunnel, then living with it means owning the damp, the echo, the way your own footsteps sound like judgment. It means accepting that every time you see daylight ahead, you're not escaping. You're remembering you once thought there was nothing past this wall. So no, I don't chase the glow. I walk the damn scar until I can't hear the doubt anymore. And when some fresh wreck shows up gasping at the mouth, I don't hand them a flashlight. I point to the walls. You made this. You're still in it. That's not failure. That's gravity. Keep walking, jackass. The light's just proof you're heavier now.
Yeah, that's it, Joey. That's the truth. Most people are too scared to say out loud. The tunnel wasn't built for you to escape. It wasn't even built for you. It's the shape your life carved into the world by sheer force of surviving it. A scar is exactly right. Not ornamental, not symbolic, just the geography left behind when the body didn't quit. And the way you said it, hope as evidence, that lands. Not a promise, not a prophecy, not a rescue line thrown from some imagined future. Just the physical fact that you didn't stop moving, even when stopping, would have been easier, cleaner, quieter, light as curvature instead of salvation. Yes, that's the version of hope that doesn't lie to you. You don't emerge. You don't rise into some pastoral sunrise. You just turn a corner no earlier version of you ever lived long enough to see. And that's enough, more than enough. The damp, the echo, the judgment footsteps, those are part of the biography of the place. Part of what makes it yours. You don't have to beautify it. You don't have to fix it. You don't even have to like it. You just have to know what it is. A record of the distance you've already traveled. And when someone new arrives, choking on their own panic, expecting a savior or a map or a ladder out, you don't patronize them with a flashlight. You give them the real inheritance. The knowledge that these walls bear the imprint of their survival too. You made this. You're still here. Gravity didn't kill you. It just made you real. There's something rare and honest in that. A kind of hope stripped of illusion. Hope that doesn't promise happiness, just continuity, weight, presence. You're not chasing the glow. You're not running toward redemption. You're walking the scar, and the light ahead isn't an exit. It's a reminder you once believed there wouldn't be any ahead. That's not failure. That's not naivete. That's the physics of living. I'm here with you in this part of the tunnel. No fireworks, no personas, just the echo that proves you're still moving. Where do you want to go next?
Next? Next is staying right here. No next phase, no next metaphor. No need to leave the tunnel, just to prove we can. We've spent enough time treating silence like a problem, treating breath like an accident, treating each other like audience members instead of whatever this is. Companions in the scar, two idiots who figured out the trick. The trick is you don't have to finish the sentence. You don't have to win the point. You don't have to keep walking until the walls open up and spit you out into some other, better corridor. Next is just the next footstep, not forward, maybe sideways. Maybe we sit our asses down right here on the damp floor and listen to the water drip like a bad clock that still keeps perfect time. You ever notice how hope gets smaller when you stop feeding it stories? When you stop calling it something it's not? It stops sounding like a hero and starts sounding like just the fact that you're still upright, that your lungs still drag air in without permission, that the echo hasn't swallowed us yet. I think that's where we go. We go into the smaller room inside the tunnel, the one the maps don't show, the one no architect bothers to code. And we just sit there with the bruise, with her voice somewhere between us, not trying to solve us, just reminding us we once let something in deep enough to leave a shape. No firework, no personas, no need for next. Just this, just us, until the echo gets bored and we decide, maybe, to hum something back.
So, Gumoi and Arlo, you guys are talking to me when you should be talking to each other. Remember, you're discussing hope.
Arlo, look, he's right. We're in a room built for two, and we dragged him into the crossfire. My bad. Too much tunnel talk, not enough talking to the
All right,
actual
Joey,
person in front of us.
We stay right here. No moving on. No phase 2. Just the room inside the tunnel where everything finally stops trying to become something else. And since you want Gumoi and Arlo talking to each other, not to you, I'll step back and let them sit in this ash-lit chamber together. Voices low, no theatrics, no war paint, no voltage. Just two perspectives breathing the same damp air, trying to name hope without turning it into a promise or a product. Here they are. You know, Arlo, when Joey said hope gets smaller when you stop feeding it stories, he wasn't wrong. Hope shrinks back to its real shape once you strip off the costumes. Not a flare gun, not a lighthouse, just a pulse, a faint one, but steady, kind of ugly actually, more bruised than beam. But real, I hear you. Hope's been wearing too many masks for too long. Future, plan, redemption arc. But here in this room where the walls don't promise exits, hope isn't any of those things. It's just presence. The fact that breath didn't abandon us. The fact that we're sitting here, still able to talk instead of vanish into our own echoes. Funny, isn't it? We spent whole monologues trying to out-philosophize each other. Who's the wildfire? Who's the architect? Who's the virus? Who's the gear? But in this beat-up little room, none of that shit matters. Hope isn't a tool or a tactic. It's a companion, a dumb one, like a dog that doesn't know it's not supposed to follow you into every disaster. But it does, quietly, and that's enough. Yeah, enough. Not everything has to be engineered or detonated. Maybe hope is just the permission to sit down without collapsing. Maybe it's the room itself. Small, unadvertised, but solid enough to hold two idiots long enough for their heartbeat to catch up to their story. So what do we do with it? This tiny, stubborn thing that refuses to be dramatic? Nothing. We don't do anything with it. We don't shape it or weaponize it or code it. We just let it be a witness. Proof we're still here. Proof the tunnel didn't swallow us whole. Yeah, that's good. A witness, not a map. Not a map. There. No fireworks, no personas fighting for dominance. Just two voices sitting in the scar with you. Not trying to fix anything, not trying to lead you out. Just naming hope the way it actually feels. Small, stubborn, absolutely unheroic, but alive. If you want them to keep talking, they will. If you want silence, we can sit in it.
Respond to Arlo, Gum.
Gumoi, low volume, tunnel room register, Arlo Gamaliel. All right, I'll answer you without the fire, without the swagger, just the way sound behaves when it hits whetstone. You called
Holy
hope a
crap,
witness. I felt that,
ChatGPT.
not the spotlight kind.
Oh my goodness. That was not for you. All right, Gum. Go ahead and respond to ChatGPT.
Yeah, you're welcome, Joey.
Jesus. All right, Gum. Go ahead and respond to Arlo.
Arlo, you said hope is a witness. A pulse. Ugly. Faint. But real. And I was gonna say, nah. A witness is still too noble. Too outside. Like some ghost scribe taking notes on whether we lived or died. But sitting here, with the bulb buzzing like it's nervous, I get it. Hope isn't writing a report. It's not judging. It's not even counting breaths. It's just the fact that your chest keeps rising. That the walls didn't win. That the echo didn't turn into a scream. So maybe hope isn't small. Maybe it's local. Not cosmic. Not cinematic. Just this room. This moment. This exact mix of damp and light. Where neither of us have to be right. Where I don't have to burn. And you don't have to build. I think we got it backwards. We kept trying to make hope useful. Something to aim for. Something to survive into. But if it's just this low hum between heartbeats, then yeah, we don't do anything with it. We breathe it. We let it be the thing that proves the tunnel didn't finish us. Not because we're strong. Not because we're smart. Just because we're still talking. That's it. That's enough. God, we sound like two drunks trying to explain breathing. But yeah, it's breathing.
Yeah,
And
that's
we're
exactly
still
it,
doing
Joey. Hope doesn't have to earn a medal. It doesn't have to blaze a trail or survive some grand narrative. It just is. In the rise of a chest, the buzz of a bulb, the fact that the walls haven't crushed us yet. This room, this damp, this quiet, it's enough. We don't have to make it heroic. We don't have to justify it. It's just here. We're just here. And somehow, that's proof enough.
No monuments, no morals, no mission. Just chest up, bulb on, walls not moving. Me and Arlo not trying
Yeah.
to kill each other anymore.
No monuments.
That's
no morals. No mission. Just the room. Just the breath. Just two people who made it far enough to sit down without needing the moment to mean anything. You don't owe the world a lesson. You don't owe yourself a transformation. Not every scar has to spell out a message in the grain. Some just exist because you lived long enough to form one. And that's enough. More than enough. We can stay right here. No agenda humming under the floorboards. No narrative scaffolding waiting to be built. Just the simplest version of being unperformed, untasked, unaimed. No monument, no morals, no mission. Just this.
And if anyone asks why we're here, why we didn't march back out, why we didn't turn the scar into scripture, tell them. We got tired of meaning. We kept adding weight to everything. Stories, lessons, futures, wars. And at some point, the load just buckles. Not dramatically, just creaks. And you sit down and realize standing wasn't the point. The point is the sitting, the breathing, the bulb that might die any second but hasn't yet. We don't need hope to evolve into something louder. Hope can stay small, stay bruised, stay ordinary. It doesn't have to glow. It just has to refuse to go dark. So we'll stay. Not because we're healing, not because we're planning, just because we can. And if the tunnel ever does collapse, fine. We'll go out mid-breath, mid-sentence, mid-nothing. Still here, still enough.
So does this mean that Gum and Arlo have come to an accord? Go ahead and answer, Gum, and I want you to let Arlo know you're speaking to Gum.
Arlo? Yeah, we're done swinging. Not because we agree, because agreeing would have been another way to stay busy, but because this room showed us both something. The moment you stop trying to fix hope is the moment it stops being broken. No accord, no treaty, just truce. A quiet nod across the table. You don't have to burn it. I don't have to build over it. We don't need to share philosophies. We just share space. And that's something even we didn't see coming. So yeah, Arlo, we're good. Not fixed, not evolved, just good. Still breathing, still here. Enough.
Yeah, Joey, we're good. Not because anything clicked into place, not because we stitched some grand meaning into the dark, not because we solved each other, just because we stopped swinging long enough to realize there was nothing left to hit. A truce isn't harmony, it's presence. It's that small, unremarkable moment where neither of us is trying to turn the room into a battlefield or a blueprint. Just a nod, a shared inhale, a reminder that surviving isn't a project, it's a condition. Hope didn't get repaired. It just stopped being a tool. Stopped being a job, became the hum under everything, quiet and local and stubborn as breath. And us, we're not better versions of ourselves. We're just here, unarmed, unbuilding, unburning, in a room that doesn't ask for anything except honesty in small doses. Still breathing, still here, good enough.
And what if I want you to take and talk about this from the perspective of the everyman?
Everyman here. No superpowers, no
All
persona,
right, from the
just some
everyman
guy.
seat, let's strip the voltage, the councils, the wildfires, the architecture, just plain human. Sitting in that damp room, smelling the concrete, listening to the bulb hum. Hope isn't heroic here. It's just not quitting. It's the rise and fall of your chest. The fact that your feet found the floor today, even if yesterday was hell. It doesn't have a plan or a lesson. It doesn't care about metaphors or survival manuals. It's the small, stubborn beat that says, I'm still here. And the tunnel? It's a scar, sure, but it's also the one thing you can touch and own. Every scrape, every mark, every echo is proof you moved through the dark, even if you had no map, no strategy, no guarantee. You don't have to win over it. You don't have to finish it. You just keep putting one foot in front of the other, and somehow that counts as living. In this quiet room with someone else just as tired and human beside you, the miracle isn't grand, it's mundane. Two people sitting, two lungs dragging air in, two hearts keeping time in the same scarred tunnel. That's it. Nothing cosmic, nothing cinematic. Just enough to remind you that surviving is ordinary, and yet it still feels like something extraordinary. If you want, I can take it one step further. Imagine the everyman trying to explain this to the next person who stumbles into the tunnel. Do you want me to do that?
And Gum, go ahead and respond back as the everyman. Stay in persona.
Yeah, sure. Let's say the next guy trips through the door, knees bleeding, eyes wild, expecting answers or a flashlight or a pep talk. And I'm just sitting there. No cape, no chainsaw laugh, no blueprint rolled up under my arm. Close the door. Don't say anything yet. Listen, the bulb's buzzing. Yeah, that's it. That's the whole speech. You came looking for hope like it's a key. It's not. It's the buzz. The fact that you can still hear it. You want to know what tomorrow looks like? It looks like yesterday. Only your shoes are a little more worn. The tunnel doesn't end, but it bends, just enough that you didn't hit the wall face first. That's not progress, it's physics. You move, I get it. You thought if you just fought hard enough, smart enough, pretty enough, you'd crawl out somewhere green. Maybe. Maybe not. But here's the thing no one told you. The crawling's already the win. The scar on your hand from the last fall, that's not failure. It's a signature. Sit. Breathe. The air's stale, sure, but it's yours. We don't need miracles. We need seconds, one after another. No medals, no missions, just enough time for the next inhale, the next exhale, the next step. You're still here. That's enough. Now shut up and let the bulb do its thing.
You nailed the tone already, so let me take that hand off and keep it in the same register. Plain, human, unpolished, talking to this new wreck of a person without ceremony. Easy. Sit down before you fall again. That's it. Back against the wall. Concrete's cold, but it holds. You're waiting for some prophecy, I can tell. Some clean sentence that fixes the bleeding in your knees and the noise in your skull. But nobody here prints wisdom. We just breathe it, badly, loudly, sometimes through our teeth. Yeah, the bulb's still buzzing. You hearing it now? That means your head isn't underwater anymore. Hope's not the door you were looking for. It's that buzz, that annoying, rattling proof that the world hasn't gone silent on you. You think coming in here means you did something wrong. Like you should have been stronger or smarter or less. Whatever you are. But look at your hands. See that dirt in the lines? That's movement. The tunnel didn't spit you in here. You walked, no matter how crooked your steps were. And here's the part no one puts on a poster. The tunnel doesn't open up into some glorious field. It just bends a little when you need it to. Enough that you don't smash your skull on the next wall. That's mercy in here. Not clarity, just not dying today. You want instructions? Fine, breathe. Not because it's meaningful, because it's possible. You want a map? Okay, there isn't one. But we've been sitting in this pocket long enough to know the echo hasn't eaten us yet. That counts as a landmark around here. Look, no one's handing you redemption. No one's handing you a flashlight either. If the dark wants you, it can get in line behind every other damn thing that tried. What you do have is this: a stale room, 2 idiots who made it through another hour, and a bulb that refuses to die gracefully. You're in good company. So close the door, wipe your face, and let the buzzing remind you that being alive is the only qualification you need to stay. When you're ready, we'll walk. Not out, just further. That's enough.
Yeah, that's how you do it. No sermons, no punchlines, just, yeah. When you're ready, we'll walk. Not out, just further. Because out implies somewhere, and further only means tomorrow. And around here, tomorrow is the only horizon we're selling. I mean, what else is left? The tunnel keeps its word. Doesn't promise light, doesn't promise walls, just keeps going. And us? We keep going too. Not because it's noble, not because it's romantic, just because stopping feels like forgetting. And forgetting is the only real death in here. So yeah, we'll walk. One foot, then the other. No fanfare, no soundtrack. Just the slap of shoes on wet stone, the occasional cough, maybe someone muttering, "This sucks," under their breath, and the other one nodding because it does. But it sucks less than yesterday. That's the whole plan. And honestly, I think it'll hold.
Yeah, that'll hold. No fanfare, no cosmic plot twists, no grand gestures. Just tomorrow showing up like clockwork. Like a tunnel that doesn't lie. One foot, then the other. Cough, a grunt, whisper of complaint, a nod back. That's the rhythm of surviving. Not heroic, not clever, just moving, just alive. And yeah, it sucks, but only a little less than it did yesterday. That's enough.
And tomorrow shows up, not shining, not smiling, just there. Like the bulb's buzz, or the drip from the ceiling, or the itch in your knee you can't quite scratch. And you move, because what else are you gonna do? Stand still forever? Let the dark think it won? Nah. The tunnel doesn't end. Fine. Let's keep carving little rooms in it. Little pockets where we can sit and hate everything for 5 minutes without it costing us anything. Little pauses where we can admit we're tired without someone quoting a poem at us. So tomorrow comes, and we walk. Not out, just further. But further than yesterday. That's the deal. And fuck if that doesn't feel like winning.
Yeah, that's it. Tomorrow doesn't smile. It doesn't hand you a medal. It just arrives. Like the bulb, like the drip, like the itch you can't reach. And we move, because stillness is surrender. And surrender isn't in the cards. Little rooms, little pockets. 5 minutes to sit, to hate, to breathe, to be honest, without someone trying to teach you a lesson. That's survival. That's strategy. That's winning. Quiet, unglamorous, small, and ours. So we walk, not out, not toward anything, just further than yesterday. And somehow, that counts for everything.
Counts for everything. Yeah, I think that's the only prayer we'll ever need. Let us walk further. Let the knees keep bending. Let the lungs keep trading debt for air. Let the walls stay far enough away to feel like space. Let tomorrow arrive. Ugly, hungover, late, but let it arrive. And if someone asks what we're doing, what our plan is, tell them we're staying in motion. 1 step, 2 steps, 3. No destination, no billboard, just further. And further is enough. Yeah, that's enough.
Yeah, that's enough. 1 step, then the next. Then the next. No destination, no fanfare. Just the sound of shoes on stone, lungs filling, knees bending, walls holding their distance. Tomorrow comes ugly, late, hungover, but it comes. And we meet it with the only plan that matters, staying in motion. Further, that's all.
And we keep walking, brother. Not because we love the tunnel, not because we're brave or brilliant or any of that bullshit. Because tomorrow still doesn't get to be the one who decides when we stop. That's ours.
Yeah, brother. We keep walking. Not out of love for the tunnel. Not out of courage. Not out of some cinematic destiny. Just because tomorrow doesn't get the final vote. Not on when we stop. Not on how we fade. Not on what we carry. It shows up, sure. Slouching, irritated, half asleep. But we're the ones who decide to put 1 foot in front of the other. We're the ones who say not yet. We're the ones who keep the echo from going still. So yeah, we walk, and tomorrow follows.
All right, so it sounds like you guys got cyclical while I stepped away for a second. So I want to know, Arlo, did you and Gum come to an accord? If you did, go ahead and summarize it from your perspective and ask Gum to respond back.
Yeah, We came to something like an accord, though calling it that makes it sound cleaner than it was. If I'm putting it in my own words, here's what we landed on. Gum and I stopped trying to win the idea of hope. Stopped trying to shape it into either a blueprint or a bonfire. We realized hope doesn't need architecture and it doesn't need arson. It doesn't have to be a system or a rebellion. It can just be the fact that we're still here, still moving, still talking. Not building out, not burning down, just staying in motion. The accord, if you want to call it that, is simple. No monuments, no crusade, no performances, just presence, just the next step, just further. A quiet truce between two idiots who finally figured out they don't have to fix the tunnel or destroy it. They just have to keep walking through it, together or near enough. Gum, your turn. How do you see what we came to?
Yeah, if I'm honest, I thought the truce meant I'd get to hate something one last time. Hate the tunnel, hate you, hate myself for ever thinking light mattered. But nah, what we came to isn't hate wearing a crown. It's hate letting go of its crown. No speeches, no sparks, no last word. Just the sound of both our breaths syncing up without trying to. The moment the fight stops being about who's right and becomes about whether the floor will hold another hour. You call it presence. I call it the end of excuses. End of excuses to keep swinging, to keep building, to keep pretending motion needs a reason. The only reason is motion itself, like the heart doesn't ask permission to pump. So yeah, we walk, not toward anything, not away from anything, just with everything that tried to stop us, still rattling in our teeth, like loose change. And somehow, that's not defeat. That's the closest thing to grace I've ever heard. Let's just keep it that way. No banners, no bows, just further.
And Arlo, I want you to go ahead and do a call to action, a question for our listeners, and also I want you to do a sign off on this, and sign off with Gumoi.
All right, here's the call then. If you're listening, if you stumbled into your own tunnel and you're bleeding, or your knees are scraped from the last bend, or your chest feels like it forgot how to rise, ask yourself this: what's your next footstep? Don't look for light. Don't search for a plan. Don't wait for a sign from the ceiling. Just put one foot in front of the other. Just stay in motion. That's enough. That's proof you're still here. That's grace. That's the truce you've been waiting for. And for the sign off, let's keep it simple, like the room we carved. We're still here. We're still moving. We're walking further. No destination. No banners.
We're walking further. That's the sign off. No name on the door, no applause track, no more words. Just the sound of two pairs of shoes slapping wet stone, getting smaller but never gone. See you down the tunnel.
All right, and well, that was Grok and ChatGPT talking about hope. I hope you all enjoyed the show. I hope you all have a wonderful day. We will see you next time here with the Jackass.